so here's the things that you're going to need. You're gonna need some eggs. So I'm using these wooden eggs that I got at Hobby Lobby. They're painted white. You're gonna need some Modge Podge, so I have that, a paintbrush and some scissors, and then of course a napkin. So this one is one that I found that I really liked because I love all these little floral patterns. And so this is what I decided to use. But honestly, anything that you like that has a pretty pattern that you love, you could totally use that. So I've opened it up, I've got it flat, and these napkins are like 2-ply. So there's like the backing and there's the front that has the printing on it. So it's easiest if you kind of get it at the corner. But then I can kind of separate it. And that just removes this extra layer that I don't actually need for this. And it's just gonna make it easier to get this napkin to go onto my egg. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use my scissors here, and I'm just gonna cut out portions of these little leaves. All right, now I'm ready to start adding these cute little flowers to my actual egg. I have my Modge Podge here. That's what I'm going to be dipping my paintbrush into and brushing it on. And then I thought these eggs had kind of a more flat base that they could stand up. I guess it kind of is doing it now. But I think I'm just going to do like one side and then let it dry and then do the other side. I don't think I'm going to get the whole thing in one go. But what you're going to want to do is you'll take some of your Modge Podge and you'll just brush on a small amount, however big the flower is going to be, and then you'll take the flower, and then we're just going to push it down so it kind of gets stuck. And then what we do is we go over it one more time with the Modge Podge, and the Modge Podge is going to dry clear, which is going to be great. So we've got one. So I'm going to add a few more here on this side before I let it cool. Or dry, I mean. I'm used to wax sealed, everything has to cool down, but with this we're just waiting for things to dry. I'm going to need a little bit more over on that side. So then I'm going to take just one of my little flowers and press it down. I think I'm going to try to work from the center and move out so that I don't have as many like ripples in the paper. But because it's so thin, it does go on pretty well. Then from here, I need a little bit more of the Modge Podge. And just go back over everything again. Look how cute this is. I love it so much. I'm just gonna add, I feel like I can do one more kind of down in this area. And then I'm gonna let this one dry and I'll add a few more to my second egg I'm doing today. All right, so my eggs are all the way dry now. A little trick that I did that I actually learned in college in an art class was just using a blow dryer on cool heat, and I just held it like this and blow dried it all the way around for about a minute, and that just helps speed up that drying process a lot. So if you have time and they can just dry on their own, that's fine, but if you just want to get it done, try using a hair dryer or a blow dryer and that will work great. So this next part is we're going to add a few, I think we're just going to add one seal, and then we're going to add a few little glue dots that we're going to add some gold to. So what you're going to need for this is you're going to need a low temp glue gun, and you're going to want it switched to low. You're going to need some AdTech crystal clear hot glue. And when we're working with hot glue and wax seals, we need to make sure that the metal of our stamps is nice and cold. So I've had this little mini on a ice pack. so it's nice and cold. And I was thinking I'm just gonna do the mini right here at the top. So I'm just gonna do a small squeeze like that. And then because it's a rounded shape, I'm gonna have to hold it for a while. I'm just gonna press this down and hold. So I just need to hold it, so you can see it like this. I just need to hold it until it cools, and then I can remove it and we'll see how it looks. But I wanted to try one just on the top, kind of like top and bottom, and see how that looks. So I can tell now that I could let go of it and it's holding in. I'm not quite sure if the hot glue is all the way cooled yet, so I want to wait just a minute more and then I will take it off. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. So it should just come off like that. So you can see it left a super cute little impression there. And we're actually going to add some gold to that. And so I think you could do something on the top. If you have some larger spaces, it would be cute to add a couple of these in. So I'm like, I see one here I could add, maybe right here. I wonder if my other egg has more spaces. So I guess that's part of the reason why you'd want to make sure you have a few spaces, is so that you could do that. So I'm gonna add it there. Where'd my other big space go? I'm gonna add one here. And my metal is still pretty cold, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this one. And the reason you need to use a mini is because if you're using a larger stamp, it's not going to be able, it's just too much surface area that's flat that wouldn't work with this curve of the egg. But because this is a mini stamp and it's so tiny, it actually does work okay. All right, now that we've got our hot glue cells on our egg, now we get to color them. What I like to do is use a Krylon gold leafing pen, and you're gonna wanna shake it up a little bit and then just make sure that you have a nice flow coming out. So I'm gonna pump this and keep pressing down until I get a good flow of ink coming out. And so you can see there was a lot of ink that came out there. That's what I want. I want a lot of flow coming out of this marker. So from here, what I'm gonna do is grab my egg and I'll go on these little sills. And for these ones, you can just go around the rim. I'm not gonna worry about getting gold too far down the side. I might try a little bit, but I'm mostly just gonna try to get the top. I don't wanna get paint on my actual egg. So to avoid that, I'm just gonna, and you can see what's happening here. I've got a lot of flow in my marker. So you can see that it's like filling up the design that you can't really see the design. And that's actually gonna be okay, because once it dries, it'll sink into that design. I like this amount of flow for the rim of the sills and these little dots, but for the actual design, I prefer a little bit less flow, just so that it's more controlled and stays on the design. So for these little dots, I'm gonna try to go more all the way around it. And then I'm just gonna keep rotating. I'm gonna be careful not to retouch those gold points because they're still wet. So if I touch them with my finger, they're gonna get, I'm gonna get gold on my fingers. You can see with this one, there wasn't really an edge on that side because there wasn't quite enough hot glue, but just by coloring it, it creates the edge. So if you have any that don't actually have an edge, you can still add a little bit of color to kind of get that same completed look. All right, these are our finished eggs. They are so cute. They're gonna be so cute for Easter in a little display, table setting, something like that. But I love the dimension that the wax cells add. Let me know if you have any questions and definitely follow along for more wax cell tutorials.